The perfect storm of fuckery has begun.
Hey, we're not cursing on this channel, man. What the heck?
Oh yeah.
You made it precisely a second and a half. So yeah, no. How are things with you today, man? I can't think of anything really going on.
No, nothing at all.
No.
Uh,
So,
yeah.
the long-awaited tariffs, the April 2nd tariffs hit yesterday. I don't know if you saw the clip, but CNBC cut
And
out of
America's climbing to the top, huh?
dude. CNBC cut out of the Trump Rose Garden tariff announcement and immediately said this is worse than the worst case scenario they could imagine. Like if we back up, he
Yep.
ran on saying he was going to do a 10% across the board import tax, and everybody said that will kill our economy. What he
Yep.
did yesterday was, if you average it all out, it's like 30-ish%. Like it's ridiculous. Um, Real quick, just so we can see where we're at today. It's 2 o'clock on Wednesday. Is today Thursday? 2 o'clock on Thursday. The Dow has dropped
That's
1,400.
Central Time. Two
Yeah,
o'clock Central Time.
yeah. The Dow has dropped 1,450 points today. That's about 3.4%. S&P's down 235. That's 4%. And the Nasdaq is down 920, which is 5%. 5.2. So yeah, it's bad. I think that the last time we had a single day drop like this was in 2020 when COVID was hitting and we realized we were
Mhm.
shutting down the economy. If you
Yeah.
go back before that, it was 2008. So bad day for the stock market.
People are freaking out, man.
It is. It's going to be interesting here. So real quick, I've seen two different projections. One of them said that this is going to cost the average American family between $2,100 and $3,000 a year in additional tax, because this is basically a tax. So
I heard $3,500
so
for each family.
the other one I heard was 4,000. I don't know where they come up with these numbers. Every family shops differently. So the range basically that I've seen is between 2,100 and 4,000 is the average amount that a family is going to spend in the next year more than they would have.
I
Um,
was watching a segment where a guy was walking through the grocery store and he was going, "Well, this is going to go up, but good news, like produce isn't going to go up that much. And, bad news, this is going to go up, but good news, like the grocery stores have like 3 months of stock inventory
but
before this actually hits the shelves." And
what
then
people
he said, and bad news is it's going to just hit the poorest of the poor. That's pretty
well
much is what it's going to screw over big time.
So that is true, but what people don't realize is that the grocery stores, when they're selling a product, and I used to work in retail, so I got a bit of knowledge on this. They don't look at what they paid for that product. They look at what it's going to cost to replace that product. If I sell all these
Mm.
avocados, how much is it going to cost me to get new avocados? So they don't wait until it's time to buy the new avocados. They're going to go ahead and raise the price now because to buy the next round of avocados is going to cost X
Oh,
amount of dollars.
well, he
So
wasn't talking about like produce. He's talking about like shelf stuff too.
I'm on everything. Like they're not
Uh,
going to wait. And also corporations, like they have an excuse. Up, we got to raise the prices, tariffs, so they can go ahead and start raising them right now, even though right now the stuff they're selling was bought under,
And they
before.
probably will, right? I mean, these
Yeah,
greedy corporations are just going to start raising prices whenever they can, of
100%.
course.
Real quick, have you seen any of the stuff about the fuzzy math that they used? Because yesterday Trump had a like a big chart that he was holding up to for every. He loves his
Um,
visual aids. I've noticed he loves to come out and like hold up a folder or a binder or whatever and talk about
mhm.
it. But yesterday he actually made it a visual aid that we could see, like we could read it. It was 4 feet tall by probably 3 feet wide, and he's holding it up.
Mhm.
But immediately everybody was like, "Whoa! Like, where's the math?" Like, he had certain things where he was claiming, like, this is made up example, like 40 Vietnam tariffs us 46%, and you can real easily go and look, and they do not tariff us anywhere near 46%.
Right.
Um, so at first, the White House came out and said, "Well, we calculated in different things." Like they keep talking about a VAT tax. Have you ever heard of a VAT tax? It's not
No, I
actually.
heard it earlier and I was going to look it up, but I forgot.
So it's called a value added tax. And what it
Uh-huh.
is like in, let's say in Germany, they'll have, and I'm making this up, but let's say in Germany, they'll have a VAT tax on all cars of 7%. It's basically an additional sales tax. Now, that tax is on every car across the board, whether it's an import or whether it's made domestically. It's just if you're buying a car, there's an additional X% of tax on it, and that's something they do. So that is in no way a tariff. That's equal across the board, whether they make it or it's bought in. So to include that's kind of weird because that's not singling us out as importing it. But even at that, even when you look at the VAT taxes and all kinds of other things, the math didn't add up at all. One guy figured it out originally, and he said, "Hey, I cracked the code." What they did is they took the total trade deficit with a country and then divided that by the number of items we import. And then they
Oh,
divided that by two or cut that in half because Trump said he's just doing half. He could be doing more, but he's just doing half. So
okay.
so total deficit divided by number of items imported, which that's not how you
He
that's
didn't do it from country to
oh
country
he did.
or
Yeah.
product to product. He just did it overall, right?
He did it overall for the country. So with China,
Oh, okay.
if we have a negative 3 billion trade deficit with them, then you take that number, divide it by how many total items, and then cut that in half because he's being nice. And that
Oh,
so that doesn't work out at all. And one guy from I think he's like the deputy press secretary of the White House. He goes, "No, we actually calculated it. Here's the math we used." And he put it out there. And the math he put out there was exactly what they had just said. Sauger from Breaking Points, he just to see, he went to Chat GPT, and if you ask Chat GPT, hey, what is the easiest way I can calculate a trade imbalance? It'll give you that formula. So it appears
oh.
somebody from the White House went to Chat
Awesome.
GTP and said, "What's the easiest way to calculate a trade imbalance?" And this is what Chat GPT gave him.
Oh,
So
awesome.
that's scary in itself. But
Fucked.
what
We're so fucked. Guess what Trump's doing right now?
laughing? I don't.
Golfing. He's
Oh
golfing.
yeah,
He
I
went
saw it.
golfing today.
He left for an early weekend or something. He's going down to Florida to golf. What's also interesting is even on one of the big things he was holding up, it had all these little bitty countries, and one of the countries it had, I don't know if you saw this, was the Heard and McDonald Islands. Do you know anything about the Heard and McDonald
Yeah.
Islands? Yeah,
You told me this earlier.
we imposed a 10% import tax on the
On fucking penguins.
yeah, the population zero. It is a group of islands that is protected, that is only inhabited by penguins. They buy nothing, they export, import nothing, and we went ahead and it's not like we
Well, maybe
just that
I
we
feel like we're
added,
probably gonna put those penguins to work. We're gonna
dude,
start building factories.
like that's sad just because they took the time to print that on it. Like that was like Vietnam, Cambodia, Heard of McDonald Islands. Like it was at the bottom of that chart, and it's like why? Who's making this? Who's making these decisions? That's the first thing. Um, the other thing, real quick, that moron, sorry, our dear leader, President Trump, he said yesterday, he goes, from 1789 to 1913, we were a tariff-backed nation, and the United States was as proportionally the wealthiest it's ever been. Okay. He also said, and then in 1913, for reasons unknown to mankind, they established the income tax to make citizens instead of foreign governments pay the necessary money to run our government. For reasons unknown to mankind. This is really the reasons are clear. Like this is documented. They said it at the
Yeah.
time.
History. This is history.
You have to do very little research. Why did we switch from tariffs to a income tax economy? And it was because the majority of the money the government was taking in. First of all, he said instead of making the governments pay for it, the foreign governments. No, the foreign governments don't pay the import tax, the tariffs. We pay it. He still, I think he knows that, but he refuses to admit that. But at the time, the majority of the money that our government was taking in was coming from the middle and lower class. So it was really imbalanced. The poor were just getting poor. They were getting beaten to death. They were just poor and poor. And this was the period of time where we had the robber barons, like they the billionaires that owned everything. Um, in order to get away with that, we came up with the income tax system, which would make the rich people pay a little bit more and make it a little easier on the middle and lower class. That's the whole reason we did it. He's saying for reasons unknown to mankind. No, it's very open. Anyone that knows anything about our economy and our history will tell you that.
Well, Andy, you really, really want him to get rid of our deficit, right? The country's deficit.
That they're not going to
And
use
that's what he's doing these tariffs for. Aren't you excited? What if he actually gets rid of the deficit?
they're not going to. So even with these tariffs, when he does his tax cut, we're still going to add to the deficit. If these, here's the thing: if this was really, if it was like, hey, we're not going to do the tax cuts and we're going to start doing tariffs because we got to pay down the deficit, I wouldn't like that, and it would hurt me. But at least it would be true. It would make sense. It would be a plan that, okay, on paper it checks out. It's going to hurt, but it checks out. That's not what we're doing here. We're doing tariffs in order to give the billionaires a tax break, and even with the tariffs, our deficit's still going to go up. So
Well, also, what happens when the economy crashes? Like who benefits from the economy crashing?
the wealthiest, the billionaires
Yeah,
get richer.
yeah.
It
They
happened
swoop
over
in, they
COVID. It
buy up all
happened
the
in 2008.
businesses. Yeah,
Yeah, that's
they
where we're at.
invest.
So, um, anyhow, I honestly, I'll
But
take
guess what we're not talking about right now?
the fact that Elon lost Wisconsin, or like all
Signal
the bad
gay,
things. Yeah, Signal
signal
Gate,
gay.
or
It's
the
all
people.
gone.
Yeah, the
It's all
people
in the
that
past.
the students
Tariffs
that are
out.
the students that are getting disappeared off the street by dudes in plain clothes
Oh
wearing
yeah.
masks. Like we're not talking about any of that. Real quick, the markets honestly could be down a lot more. Like this is awful. We're down almost 1,500 points in the Dow. It could be worse. The only reason it's not worse is because he wasn't real clear on when these are going to get implemented. And somebody from the White House said in 9 days. And nobody's backed that up yet. But so there are people out there that are still going, he's not really going to do it. That's the thing that kills me is that like a good part of America will hear Trump say something and go, "Hey, he's just talking. He's not going to do that." And those are the people that voted for him. That like,
Yeah.
he's just saying it. So basically, a lot of people that voted for him are like, he's a liar. But I mean, I like him, but he's probably not telling the truth here.
He's just lying. He's just
Uh,
bullshit.
but what
He's
we're set up,
bullying. He's just bullying our allies and
well,
trade partners across the world.
what we're set up for right now is that this is going to come in stages. Like this drop in itself is bad, but like today so far, Germany and Canada had talks and apparently are going to strengthen their trade relationship in order to bypass America. Mexico announced that it's going to do a new trade deal with the EU, the European Union, to bypass America. And then we have China, Japan, and Korea that are all getting together to respond. So everybody else is forming their own alliance. They're cutting us out, basically. They're all
And
going to do
China,
their own.
Japan, and North Korea or South Korea don't like each other.
They're mortal enemies, but for the purposes of fighting back against Trump, they're joining forces. That's terrible for us. Anyhow, so as the trade war escalates, because eventually there's going to be the EU is fighting back, and now they're going to do this, and every time that happens, the market's going to get hit a little more, and then whenever these actually get implemented, it's going to go down even more. So we're looking at this is the first stage in the Dow dropping, or just the markets in general, and then in 26 days is when we get the quarter one report. The estimates on how the GDP did in the quarter one and Q1 are looking awful. They're saying it could be anywhere from negative 3.5 to positive zero point 0.3. That's the range that they're thinking it's going to be in. Along with when that gets announced, they'll also announce unemployment and inflation. So in 26 days, we're going to get our report card for the Q1. It's gonna it's not going to be good. Is all I'm saying. I don't want to be alarmist, but like I saw just a minute ago that what is it? Jeep, Chrysler, Dodge is all one company. They just announced their first round of layoffs in response to the tariffs. The tariffs just happened 14 hours ago. They're letting
Hmm.
900 workers go from one plant. They're basically closing down one plant. They're saying the layoffs over the next couple of days. We're going to hear all kinds of stories about layoffs at these big corporations. So like as bad as today is, like I think this is the beginning, the first step of a series of drops we're going to see in the market.
Yeah.
It's scary. Vietnam, that's real quick. We hit Vietnam with a 46% tariff on anything coming out of Vietnam. First of all, a lot of our clothing and shoes come out of Vietnam. Like that's where you got ladies in sweatshops making all of our Gucci bags
Yeah.
and Nike shoes and all that stuff. Um,
Vietnam, China. Yeah.
What's weird about that is all those companies used to be in China, and America basically pressured them and gave them incentives to get their manufacturing out of China and into a couple different countries over there, Taiwan, Vietnam. But like they did exactly like we wanted them to do. We wanted them to get out of China and get into these other countries. They did it according to our ask, and now we're tariffing them out the butt for not being in America. They did exactly what we asked them to, but doesn't matter. They need to do it here. The price of a pair of Nikes is as cheap as it is because there's people working in sweatshops making it. I'm not saying it's right. I'm just saying that's the reality of
And
the
it's expensive.
situation.
It's
If
expensive.
if
Stuff's
we
expensive.
start if we start making Nikes here, do you know what the price of all that's going to be? It's
Like
going to be
300 bucks.
ridiculous.
The
So,
cheapest ones would be like $300 each.
yep. Hey,
Yeah.
real quick, did you see there were three countries that were not on the tariff list? Three countries that we did not hit at all. Can you guess the three countries?
Oh,
Russia's
Russia,
one of them. We're not tariffing
Israel.
them.
No, we hit Israel, didn't
We
we?
did hit Israel, yeah. But
Okay,
Russia,
so Russia, North Korea,
yes, those are two out of the three.
and ooh, I'm gonna go with Saudi Arabia.
Nope, Belarus. And Belarus is like they call
Belarus.
it a satellite state of Russia. Belarus is technically independent. They have their own leader, but he does whatever Putin says. So
So we
he's
did nothing to Russia, but the
so
rest of gets it.
they asked the White House why Russia and Belarus and North Korea. I put them in there. They are the third country, but they don't export anything. We don't buy anything from them, so it
Neither do
doesn't
the
really matter.
Penguins, bro. Neither do the
That's
Penguins.
right. They should have still gotten 10%. Um, but the White House asked, how come Russia's not on this list? Or a reporter asked somebody at the White House, how come Russia's not on this list? And they said, oh, well, we're already sanctioning Russia, so they're already being punished, so we don't have to do it. Well, we're also already sanctioning Iran and a couple other countries. They
Mm,
still got the tariffs, so why aren't we hitting
mm,
Russia? And the real reason is because Russia's economy is not doing well right now. The war with Ukraine is really hurting them, and Donald doesn't want to do anything mean to Putin right now. So that's where we're at
yeah.
with that. So cool.
Oh,
Yeah, so we're going easy on
his best
them.
friend, Trump's best
Exactly.
friend.
Um, and then the only other fun this was the funny part to come out of last night is Howard Lutnick is the I don't know what his official role is. He's has something to do with the economy in the White House. Um, every time he goes on TV, he says something stupid, and they actually ended up like they kind of pulled him off the air for like a week and a half. He was the one that like a week and a half ago, he was like, if your grandma doesn't get her Social Security check one month, she's not going to complain. You know who complains? It's the fraudsters. The fraudsters are always the only ones that complain. And like he took a lot of crap for that. So they ended up just kind of disappearing him from the airwaves. Like he was every time he spoke, it didn't go well. He ended up back out there last night defending all these, and apparently he's the driving force behind this. Like him and Trump they see on the same wavelength on this. Um, he was saying how he was complaining that Korea won't take McDonald's fries because we can't prove the country of origin or the place of origin for the potato. And it
Oh,
turns out, no, they won't take our fries because they are not fries. Like, do you remember a deal a couple years ago where
potatoes. They're not potatoes.
sorry, yeah, they're not potatoes. A couple years ago, there was a deal where it turns out Taco Bell's beef, like legally, they can't call it beef because it didn't have
Yeah.
enough beef in it to qualify. That's kind of like McDonald's French fry. Like the French fries they sell over in Korea, those are actually like made out of potatoes. Uh,
Mhm.
so that's the reason they won't take that. He also said that,
Well, also I was listening to this thing and they were talking about our beef. Like nobody in the world will take our beef
that,
because of all the chemicals we put in, the inhumane um way that we treat our cattle and like we're trying like Trump really wants New Zealand to buy our beef, but New
mhm,
Zealand's like, no, we only have like grass-fed beautiful cows that
yep,
we feed our people, and you guys, I don't know what you're feeding your people, but
that
people
that
across the world are disgusted by what we are eating over here.
that was the second thing that Lutnick said last night. He said Europe won't take our chicken or our beef, and he then went on to like say our beef is much better than their beef. Basically called them stupid for not taking it. And you are exactly right. It's the antibiotics, the factory farming, and the hormonal chemicals we put in our livestock. That is why they won't buy it. They don't put that crap in there. You would think the Maha people would get this. This is what they're all about. Is
Yeah,
in Europe they don't have all these added hormones, blah blah blah, which is true, but that's why they won't take our beef. And then on top of that, real quick, in America, we do not produce enough beef, chicken, or eggs to feed our own people. We eat all the stuff we produce locally, and then we also have to buy stuff from like apparently a lot of our beef comes from Brazil. I did not know this till recently,
hmm,
but because
yeah,
we can't make enough here to keep us fed, so we operate on what we're doing. Plus, a couple other countries have to supplement that. So why are we even talking about the fact that Europe won't take our beef? We don't have enough to export. Like we really don't.
yeah,
It makes no sense. Um, the only other thing they keep saying, well, really, this isn't. If you see anybody try to defend this, and I've seen a couple, there's been a couple of Republicans that have come on and go, well, what President Trump's trying to do is get our manufacturing jobs back. Okay, there is a way that targeted tariffs could be used to bring certain manufacturing back. The way you would do it wisely is to hit one sector at a time. Say, hey, we really got to hit the auto industry.
yeah. But
Let
other than that, you have to start building the factories first. Like
so
it's gonna
there needs to
take
be
how long does it take to build a car manufacturing facility?
a couple
Like
of years.
2, 3 years?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Let's do that first. Let's start at the beginning, not destroy everything.
the way you would wisely do this is you would at the same time you would put out economic policies and incentives like to help these car companies build up manufacturing here and then also put on tariffs on other countries and you would go through and do it like one industry at a time. It would take a decade or two, but you
Yeah.
wouldn't do it all at once like this. And then like we said at the beginning, there's all kinds of tariffs on like produce that we can't physically grow in America. Like our climate's
Yeah.
not right for it. Are you trying to bring the avocado business or the banana industry back to America? It won't work here. Like there's no point for that tariff at all. This is So
This is insane. This is insane. And he hasn't even given anybody any incentive to do anything. Like
no, in
the
all
car.
of these countries, I've been listening to them all morning. They've all said that they've been asking for the last couple of months, like, "Hey, what is it that you want out of us? Like, we'll talk right now. Like, what do you want? We will give concessions to not do these tariffs." And Trump has he continually says, "Nope, there's nothing you can do. The tariffs are happening. There's nothing you can do." It's like eventually this is going to end at some point when he then gets concessions and claims victory. But the whole point is none of this was necessary. He could have just gone to them and said, "Hey, I'm going to put tariffs unless you renegotiate your tariffs with us." And then they would have done it. They've all come out and said they were more than willing to meet with us and renegotiate stuff. Trump, he didn't want to hear it. He wants to do this because in Trump's mind, this makes him look strong.
Yeah. Well, that and then well, there's only two reasons why he's doing this, and it's both to make the rich richer, right? And
There's a
it's just
third. We're going to talk about the third in a minute, but go
okay.
ahead.
Well, I want to talk about these two first. So if he's going to make the rich richer in a just in a short burst, he's going to crash the economy. The rich are going to come in, grab whatever they can, buy back in the stock market, and then kind of relinquish all these tariffs and like get back to normal. And so the rich can kind of they get a little cash grab, right?
Hmm.
Or he wants to do like in the 19 teens where this a robber baron
Yeah.
industry and he's got there's 10 or 20 super rich people and everybody else is just living in I had to look this up the other day. It was called the Hoovervilles. Have you seen
So that was
these?
back when. Hold on.
It was
I've
Hoover. It
seen
was
that term
President
before.
Hoover. President Hoover. This was in the Great Depression.
Yeah. So
So
this was the when they had like they're like called corporate towns or something. And it's like when they were building the Great Dam, for example, sorry, the Great Dam, the Hoover Dam, they built like a little city that like all the workers and their families lived in that was like right, 10 miles away from where they were building the Hoover Dam. I think that's, let me see here.
you
Shanty
need to do a
towns,
little more research because
shanty
this
towns or makeshift homeless encampments that emerged during the Great Depression, named after President Herbert Hoover. Never mind. So I'm thinking
yeah.
of corporate towns. Hoovervilles are different. It's basically, yeah,
Yeah.
it's,
Yeah. Look, I watched a video
uh,
on it last night. It's pretty insane. Um, yeah,
yeah.
so if I mean if it gets to Great Depression like scenario where it lasts 10 years, then this is what people are building their
Well,
houses out of.
what's scary is that somebody was showing this morning on the news, but during the '08 economic collapse, during the Great Depression, obviously, but like the suicide and divorce rates go through the roof. They spike instantly because
Uh,
economic stress is one of the worst kinds of stress you can have on yourself or on your marriage. So,
sure.
that's the other thing is MAGA is all about the family unit and no single parents and all that fun stuff. And it's like, okay, all these economic policies are only going to split up families and have single parents from either suicide or divorce. So get ready for that. Um, the third reason that he would do this, and this is a real what's the word pessimistic view of Trump. If you think he's capable of this, which I don't. Do you think Trump is capable of being narcissistic? Because I don't know if he could.
We'll save that for our backward show.
Okay.
Yeah, he's a complete narcissist, bro.
So Trump loves power. Would you agree with that?
Yeah.
He likes it when people have to ask him for things, even though he's not giving you this money. It's the U.S. government's money, but he likes to phrase it as, "Oh, I'm giving you this" or whatever. Even the stimulus checks from him, he wanted his name on the checks, and that was a
Well, he
holdup.
even takes credit for Biden stuff too.
Yep.
I did this and I did that. And it was like, no, Biden actually did that.
So remember a couple weeks ago when I was explaining to you about something, and this used to happen back in the day, but it's called petitioning the king. Do you remember anything about that?
Yeah,
So
Bill Maher just did
Bill, oh yeah, Bill Maher. I can't wait to hear what he has to say about his little visit to the White House. But he's going to be in a situation right now where immediately, yesterday, as soon as this was over, billionaires and lobbyists were trying to get time with Trump. They're trying to get on the phone with him, or they're trying to come visit him, and they want to beg him for a carve out for their industry. Hey, can you please
Oh,
exempt my industry from this? I will give your super PAC a blank dollar amount, donation, or I will promise to buy X amount of your meme coin or whatever it is. Um,
and he's golfing.
yeah, but then he has the power. He has the power to say, I don't know, maybe if you can do something for me, then I will do a carve out. So, here's the thing: if he was doing that for the country, like what can Germany do for America to get a carve
Yeah,
out? Okay, if he's doing, but is it going to be for the country or is it going to be for him personally?
it's him
I don't
personally, dude.
I don't trust him on that. And then also, not only can he do favors for the people that are kind to him and do things for him, but it's a way he can punish his perceived enemies. So
Yeah,
you look at all the things going
which
on
is
here.
now Europe.
I'm not saying that's the whole reason he's doing the tariffs, but that's an awesome added benefit for him where he has all the power now. Oh, you want a special favor? Well, come talk to me. You better come prepared to tell me what you're going to do for me to make me want to do this favor for you. That's kind of where we're at now. So
Hmm.
petitioning the king is officially back. Now, the one hope we have is I don't know if you saw this, but last night, four Republicans joined the Democrats in the Senate, and I don't exactly get how this is going to work. But they voted basically to say, hey, the tariffs aren't going to happen in Canada. They specifically protected Canada. Now, I don't understand the mechanics of this, and I don't know if it has to go through the House. If it has to go through the House, I don't think there's enough House Republicans that are going to break with Donald Trump, and I don't think it'll get passed there. But at least right now, we've got four Senate Democrats that have already crossed Trump, and then listening to them all getting interviewed in the hall this morning, they all don't seem on board with this. Like, and I think where they all kind of were was basically like, we're going to give this a short amount of time and see how it plays out, but overall, like, we're not down with this. That was their message. Um,
Yeah,
so yeah.
I mean, Congress has the purse strings, right?
They're supposed to have the power to tariff too, but in the reconciliation or the continuing resolution they did, they basically signed away their authority over tariffs to Trump. Yeah,
No. Oh my gosh. This
yeah,
should have been Chuck Schumer needs to be put in jail.
yeah. He's not doing well.
Oh
But
my gosh.
which
What the?
I'll say
Okay.
this real quick. Hakeem Jeffries went on last night. What's that? The new podcast that's overtaken Rogan. That's a far left podcast.
Midas touch?
Yeah, so I don't watch them a whole lot, but I saw last night that Hakeem Jeffries went on Midas Touch, which we've been saying like the Dems need to start going out and getting on these podcasts. But man, like they're just not good at podcasts. Like even he was trying to be like fired up against these tariffs, and like he's just not here. I'll say this: we need to explore this in depth later. But like a really good politician and a really good podcaster, like there shouldn't be overlap there. Like it's two different jobs. Okay, so if you
I'll
have
tell you what they are. You want me to tell you what they
yeah,
are?
tell me.
So a really good politician lies to your face, is fake and bullshits like nobody's
Okay,
business. And a really good podcaster is actually authentic, genuine, and tells you the truth.
maybe
And yeah.
because if you think about real quick, the politicians that are really good on podcasts generally are not the best politicians. They're good on podcasts, but they don't really get anything done. They don't put forward bills or anything like that. And
Well,
then
I don't get why we accept that our politicians are liars and cheaters and bullshit artists. Like this doesn't make any sense to me. And this is part of the reason why this is part of my um complaint with US government is
I,
we just accept that these people it's like, oh, we call what do we say every time we have an election? The best of two evils
yeah,
every fucking time. So why don't we just actually get something that's not evil?
I'm not in a position to argue this with you right now because I know it'll be an argument. But I honestly don't think that the majority of our politicians are bad people or are liars. I think there are some, but I don't think the majority are. I think there are times when they have to spin things to be more favorable to what they're trying to do. But I wouldn't put them all, not all of them, and probably not even half of them in that category of being
How many of them do
liars.
you think take money from lobbyists and vote in the favor of the money they're getting from lobbyists? What
Well,
percentage would you put on that?
so if you're taking money from a lobbyist, I'll bet in almost 90 plus percent, you're voting the way that lobbyist would want. Now, the difference is were they all, are they, if it's somebody who's been screaming about oil and we need to start drilling more, and they were doing this long before they started getting paid by lobbyists, and then the lobbyists start paying them because they share the same ideas. And it's like, hey, I've been saying for years that we need to drill more, and now the oil company's giving me money. I
Yep.
already felt like we needed to drill more. I think that's where a lot of cases
What's
it
the
is.
Israeli lobby called?
APAC.
How many of them do you think are taking money from Israel right now from APAC?
I saw a chart.
And
I saw a chart the other day that showed like the House of Representatives, all 435 seats, and it was like a black dot over each one taking money from APAC, and it was like 70% of the House of
Every
Representatives.
single one of them are crooks.
Yeah, in that case, I would say so. And it was
Every single one of them are
it was
crooks.
all but like four Republicans were taking money from APAC, and then like almost half of the Democrats were taking money for APAC. So, but
Yeah.
I don't know. Like I said, I'm not ready to argue. I don't want to argue that with you now, but that's
Okay.
but that's where we're at. So tariffs, and they haven't even gone into, like I'm gonna say it again, they haven't gone into effect yet. We don't know when. He just announced them yesterday, and they're kind of being weird about when they're going to go into effect. But we've got the market, and we'll do a little end of show market recap here. Where are they at? Refresh.
Let's see.
Oh shit, the Dow has dropped another 180 points since we've been talking. The Dow is now negative. Shit, it just dropped more. Something might have happened news-wise while we've been talking because it's now at
Okay.
negative. It's now at negative 1638. Ah, the S.
Yep. Just keep dropping. Did Mexico come out with their thing yet? Is that what
So
happened?
she had said she was going to give a speech today, but then I never saw the speech happen. And then it turns out that it's like she just made a statement that they're going to work closely with the European Union to bypass us to do their own trade. Um, but at one point, it got to almost 1,500, and then it dropped back down to like 1,200, the Dow at one point. So it was kind of getting better, and now it's at 1638. So we've got a late
Hmm.
afternoon little drop here. Man, so we're basically at 4% loss. That's going to be the equivalent of like $3.5 trillion roughly of market loss today in just the Dow.
Hmm. Interesting.
So, and the big tech like Nvidia is getting hammered hard. Also, Tesla. Where did Tesla go? Tesla has dropped another 6% today. Real quick, Tesla a month ago or a month and a half ago was trading at 488, and now it's trading at 138. Jesus.
Wow, that's amazing. That's
Yeah,
pretty amazing.
that's
Elon.
that's crazy. Okay.
Well, he deserved it. He deserves it. He absolutely deserves it. I'm not gonna say these other companies really deserve it right now, but if anybody deserves it, Elon Musk deserves it.
Yeah. Luckily, they were saying yesterday that I guess people were complaining to Trump. Ooh, it's above 1650 now. Sorry, we're at 1655. Jesus. But I guess yesterday stories came out that after Wisconsin, people were going to Trump and complaining about Elon, and he was basically telling all of them, "Hey, he's going to be gone real soon anyway, so just give us a couple weeks. He's leaving soon." So I think that they're kind of in a mode where they can't wait to get him out of there at this point. So,
They're pushing him out, but he still has control over Doge, right?
well, after 120 days, which is only like another month, he's not supposed to have control of Doge, but he'll still be talking to Trump.
What did you say Tesla was at?
Right here, what I'm looking at shows Tesla is trading at 138, and it was at
Uh,
488 at one point.
no, it's at 265 right now.
What am I? Oh, this is a 52-week range. Sorry.
Yeah, it's at
Okay,
265.
sorry. Hold on. Let me. I don't look at stocks very much.
I thought that was a little off.
Okay, sorry. So in the last year, it's okay. I get this now. It's in the last year, it's been between 138 and 488. That makes
Okay.
sense. I'm looking at a range here, right? And does it say
Yeah.
actually what it's trading at? Hold on. Let me. 266.12 is what I have it at.
Yeah, I've got 265. So yeah,
Okay, yeah. Okay, that makes sense. So, but it was 488. That's still a huge loss.
that's huge. Yeah,
And then I
no.
saw that.
He went up and then everything he gained from the election, he lost from what he did with Doge.
Yeah. What's funny is they were listing like the biggest losses today on the news, and Crocs somehow was listed on there. I don't know how that could be one of the major corporations, but yep. If your retirement is all in Crocs, you are in trouble today.
I'm gonna go buy a pair of Crocs actually.
My kid just bought, or we bought her two pairs of Crocs, and apparently like that's the rage at school all of a sudden. Like all the kids are
Oh,
wearing Crocs to school. Don't
okay.
understand
They're
it. So
super lightweight. Actually, when I went on this uh skin in yurt trip, the guy I went with, he brought Crocs with him. He was like, "Yeah,
dude,
they're like the lightest shoes you can get." So,
I for years around the house, I wore Crocs and socks like as a house shoe, and they're the comfiest thing you can imagine. So,
hmm,
anyhow, so
okay.
all right, well,
Crocs for
we'll
me.
get together soon. Keep your eye on the market. Yeah, it's 1652 now. Whew. All right, yeah, we're gonna be fine. Okay, everything is good, is all I can keep telling you.
Everything's gonna be okay.
Yes. So,
Well, hey, where are we gonna set up our Hooverville? Where are we going to Hooverville it at? We got to be near a soup kitchen.
And
That's the
someplace where
key.
the climate is good.
It can't be Oklahoma. Oklahoma's not going to take care of their people.
Well, it can't be a red state.
Yeah, California.
There's already too many Hoovervilles in California. Like Skid Row is a Hooverville.
Well, they've already got them set up, so we just have to
That's
bring
true.
some nice materials.
Let's go to Canada, man. They're
It's
good
gonna be
people.
cold.
They'll take care of us. I don't care. They'll take care of us. Those people are
West
too.
Coast. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
I
Well,
don't know if Canada's gonna let us in after this. This is gonna
it,
be the problem.
we just got to show up and denounce Donald Trump, and they'll let us in. So, all right. I will talk to you soon, buddy.
All right, later, bro.
Later.
Sometimes you eat the bar, sometimes the bar eats you.